We have been exploring ways to leverage technology to continue sharing the rich and diverse stories of the peninsula. Exploring ways to bring the past alive, not just for local audiences, but for the world. Our online video collection, developed in the past 12 months, has garnered nearly 8,000 on-demand views. Let's take a look at some highlights from that video series.
The railroad was here before you could get here by road. In that era that we're talking about, the only transportation you had was the lake and the railroad. There was no way that you could drive from Bayfield to Red Cliff or from Bayfield to Washburn and beyond. When the road between Bayfield and Washburn was made possible and cars and trucks were running, there was a lot less traffic for the railroad. David Borth did a book on the lumbering industries, and I think he had one of his books that chronologued this area. So here's what was. There was something before this, and now we got something after this. And what has changed since this all went out? I mean, we probably had 2 more changes after the railroad was taken out completely. 2 more changes in the lifestyle, the way Bayfield survives.
Then he would load them up and take them to Washburn. But we would start a fire in there on Friday morning to warm it up. H.J. had Railway Express and all that stuff, and he had a coal yard. H.J. would give the city the coal, and my dad would go down there with his car and fill up the little buckets and then take it up to the jail. The last one he had when we left here was a 40 Chevrolet.
It's the 50th anniversary of the National Park and the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. My father came here as a young boy in a Model T Ford driven by my grandfather. And the places that impacted him as a young boy became the places he sought to protect as a governor and United States senator. And I think the most important lesson for me is the incredible endurance he showed in working day in and day out to ensure that this magical place was protected for all time. There was a little boy from a little town with a really big dream, and that dream came true. Every place that he touched as a child, the St. Croix River, the Apostle Islands, and so many other things that he came to value, became his life's purpose. And he got up every day and he worked really hard to make that happen. The most important thing for me is that individual action matters, that you get up in the morning committed from a place of purpose and values, and unimaginable things can happen. My father was just a little boy from a little town in Wisconsin, and he really made a difference. And one of the most...
I'm really happy to be able to be a part of this. I'm working with the Friends of the Apostle Islands National Lakeshore. We're really pleased that Bayfield Heritage Association has stepped forward to do this program and the program with Bob McGrath talking about the establishment of the National Lakeshore. When I saw that you were going to be doing a presentation about the lost formations, I love seeing these pictures that are more than 100 years old and see the amount of change that's taken place in that amount of time. But there have been some more recent changes that we've seen just in the last few years. And I thought it'd be nice to add a few photographs of these more recent lost formations, such as this point that is on the east side of Sand Island. It's called Swallow Point. This arch for many years marked the southern tip of Swallow Point and the entry to East Bay, right up until about just a little over 5 years ago. When going out to the islands, we noticed that the pedestal for this arch had collapsed. So if you just look to the right of that sailboat in the distance, you can just see the pedestal that's left over from that collapsed arch. It just goes to show how the shorelines of the Apostle Islands are constantly changing. Sometimes it happens over a period of years, and sometimes it happens over a period of days.
Now, this next image position in 1909 at the urging of his friends. At that time, Mr. Walksmith was running for re-election. He has already been the town chairman. A little bit ticked off because he may have lost because of negativity from the press. And then in a very hotly contested election, Walksmith won by a, who can help me out there? He won by a whisker. Thank you very much. He did win by a whisker. Actually, he won by a lot, but I mean, who could resist that joke? All right. So let's get a sense of how things went after he won that election. Well, there are a couple issues that were really bothering Curry Bell. Overstaffing of the police department, not enforcing the liquor license requirements. Among his comments were some great gems. I admire his skill in abdicating economy and the disbursement of public funds. I love that. Floundering about in a sea of conceited egotism, he takes the prize as an intellectual degenerate. Okay, tell me how you really feel, Curry. Okay. It speaks so highly of the intelligence of this community to have a man of your demonstrated ignorance of the law or a willful violator of it at the head of town affairs. Mr. Walksmith wasn't without response. He had his own newspaper that he could use. And I mean, he got down about as low as you
In
could
East
get.
Bay is perhaps the most wonderful piece of natural rockwork to be found on the coast, Temple Gate. This structure rises out of the water 35 feet high in the form of an arch, through the center of which extends a cross piece of stone. To crown the whole on the top, nearly over the center of the arch, the bleak and barkless trunk of a pine tree fully 30 feet in length stands as a signal staff. A cruise among them for a few days even, and one becomes enchanted with their romantic beauty. And then there is such a variety in their wonderful formation that one never tires of their society. They seem to welcome one with their sheltering arms, safe harbors in all weather for all craft that visit them. Through your generous support of money, time, and resources, BHA can continue its important work long into the future. See our website for volunteer and support options or to donate online securely. We could not do this without you. Thank you for your continued support.